Welcome Overdrive.
Hello MG,
I'm listening.
play me the latest hits from the Ghana app.
Connected tech is all around us, and now it's making a big splash on the Indian car scene. Indian car makers are advertising between 30, 50, hundreds of features under this technology suite. But some of these are really useful, while some are only things that you would brag about to your friends at a bar. Unfortunately, the latter is not happening in the current scheme of things. But we have been lucky enough to find ourselves a nice spot where we can meet up and discuss what connected technology is all about. In fact, that is what today's show is all about. Welcome to Overdrive, and let us tell you what is connected technology and how much of it actually makes a difference for you.
Yeah, about 4 kilometers away. So
Oh, I'm here. Sorry for the delay. I'm not taking any blame for this. This is all technology because the mapping software, the popular mapping software, it depends on people to use their phones and give it data every day. Probably is not working because of this whole lockdown, because the road outside is shut and it didn't know. So I had to take like a long detour.
fair enough.
So the whole idea of this story, like I said, is about connected technologies. Now the entire Overdrive team has been out shooting and testing this, and we also have Tushar with us. So the Overdrive team here is going to give you the car guy's perspective on what this technology is all about, while he is going to add the technological viewpoint, what it means to the tech user, the tech savvy user, when they get into a car and start treating one of these as a gadget. So talking about connected tech and vehicle tracking like you guys were doing and invading my privacy in a way. So all this has existed for a while, right? I mean, vehicle tracking is not something that's new.
Yeah, so essentially what we've got right now, and we're using it as a baseline for what we're talking about, are basically cars with inbuilt SIM cards. Really,
Right.
that's basically what we're talking about. This is not technology that's revolutionary or brand new. It's just that now the SIM card is inside the car. Right. Previously, for the last, I don't know, maybe 5 or 6 years, we've had options in the aftermarket to add sort of smart mobility features to your
Right.
cars using dongles, essentially.
Correct.
OBD2 dongles, which you can actually connect to the diagnostic port of most
Right.
modern cars. And that will enable things like GPS, geofencing, and a lot of convenience features, security features mostly. And so that's been around for a while. Now what we are seeing going the extra mile is the integration with the car's systems, and that's what's new.
Right, so I think what we are going to do here is, like I said, millions of features are being advertised for these car makers. So let's sort of break them down into 3 categories. Let's do safety and security as one, comfort and convenience as one, and maybe the feel-good features as a third category.
The cool
things
stuff,
that are,
because-
the cool stuff that is there, but may or may not be important. So you're talking about SIM cards being embedded in this, right? So is it like the digital SIM that I get on my phone these days, or is it like a physical SIM card that we had on our previous generation phones?
As far as the end user is concerned, as far as the driver is concerned, it doesn't matter. Whether there is some place in the car where there's a physical SIM, which used to be the case, and it is in some of them, or it's an eSIM. Usually what happens is that the company, the manufacturer that is supplying you the car, that sells you the car, has everything integrated, has everything built in, and they've got a deal with the telecom provider. So
Right.
whether it's Idea or Vodafone or Jio or whoever, they have that SIM in the car, and that's really not going to change.
Right.
Which can be a problem because not all networks are equal in all places
True.
in our large country. So if you don't have network in certain places, that can be a major downer, because basically your connected tech features
Right.
stop working.
Okay. So Simran, you have been categorizing these features, right? So if you are talking about safety and security, which is exactly what he is also sort of talking about with the tracking feature. So what all do we categorize under safety and security?
I think the biggest plus point of having a car that's connected is being able to see where your car is at all times. Now, you may have a driver who's taken the car to go pick up your kids. That's where the safety and security aspect of it actually ties in together. You can see where it is on the map. You can get alerts when the driver crosses a predefined speed limit that you can set. So if you're comfortable at 60, that's what you can do.
Right.
You can also then tie in the geofencing feature of it. So you set a 2-kilometer radius between school and home.
Right.
And if the car crosses that, you get an alert immediately. So you can automatically call up your child, call up the driver, call up anybody else to check in on the car.
Right. I remember also seeing the GLE had a valet mode. So did you get a chance to try it out? How? I mean,
So,
it's also part of the whole vehicle tracking.
Yeah, it's a similar concept to being able to track where your car is going. It's just dumbing it down for you when you go and park it at a restaurant and you hand the keys over. You can make sure that the car doesn't exceed a certain speed limit and again doesn't exceed a certain area, because we've heard those horror stories of valet drivers taking off with your car and going out for a joyride. That's not likely to happen with a valet mode.
So in this entire safety and security category that we are talking about, apart from these vehicle tracking services, is there anything else that you would want to categorize under this and something that you would talk about?
A huge part, in fact, a part that's not made enough noise about is the fact that some of these cars offer dedicated SOS and roadside assistance buttons. So in the case of a crash, if you have an accident and God forbid that you can't pull out your phone or your phone's going flying from one end of the car to the other, there's a button in easy reach which automatically calls up a call center, which will then get you the help that you need and send locations across as well.
Usually, yes.
Yeah.
Good afternoon, my name is Shivam, calling you from Hyundai's Bloom Connect Center. Kindly confirm whom I'm speaking with.
Hi, my name is Tuhin,
Yes, sir.
and my car's check engine light is on.
Okay, so you are having some trouble in while driving the vehicle?
Yeah, can you just tell me what is wrong with the car?
Okay, sir, I am not understanding your concern properly. Is the malfunction light is on?
Yes.
Okay, sir, kindly be on call. I'm getting the information. I will check whether I can patch some data related to your vehicle or not, the problem you are facing. But currently you are facing any problem while driving the vehicle?
No, only the light is on.
Okay, only the light is on. You are not facing some trouble while driving the vehicle.
No.
Okay, may I know your full name, sir?
Tuhin Guha.
Okay. Okay, Mr. Sudhin, kindly be on call. Okay, sir, I'm not able to find some problem from here. So I can suggest you that you must visit the dealership or the nearest service center. I can give you the location of the nearest one.
Okay, can you send
Will
me
that
that?
be okay with you?
Can you put it
Yes.
on my car?
Yes, kindly be on call. Okay, the nearest one is Modi Hyundai. It is in Vasai East, Vasai.
Okay, sure.
That is currently 6.5 kilometers away from your location. And I am sending this location to your audio video navigation screen.
Yes, sure.
Thank you for your precious time. You are speaking with Shubham. Have a nice day, sir.
Yes, thank you very much.
Also, where are you on this whole SOS and RSA thing? Do you think that those switches are important? Because now with the cars that we've tested, so here we've been testing the Honda City, we've been testing the Creta, we've been testing the MG Hector, the Mercedes-Benz GLE. So what is your opinion? For example, the Honda City, it requires me to use the app if I want to send out an SOS message. Where are you on this? Do you prefer the switches or do you prefer it this way, or would you want a combination of both?
Let's face it, we are driving large, relatively heavy vehicles that have the ability to crush, maim, injure other people on the street. At most, I think you should have tech that enables you to be safer. You should not have tech that distracts you. And in this case, for example, I think this is a distraction. If you need to look away from what you're doing in order to look at a phone and execute certain actions, I think that's wrong. I am a big fan of tactile buttons in easy reach for things that matter.
You're right. Somewhere it just feels like it's technology for technology's sake or for marketing's sake, and it's not really that well integrated. So of course there's still a long way to go for technology. But I think we'll end this segment right here where we've talked about the security and the safety features.
Yeah, hello, Robert. Yeah, I'll just unlock it.
Yeah, it's done. It's done. Thank you so much. Thanks for unlocking it. Thanks. So yeah, so this is where connected tech really helps, right? Because in the middle of all this, I ended up leaving the key inside the car and it locked itself. So the only way to get it done ASAP was asking Tuhin to unlock it, because he was testing that car all through the week, and thankfully, yeah, it worked. So a little bit of comfort, little bit of convenience, a lot of security in this as well. What do you guys think about it?
Well, I don't think it was meant to happen in the first place. So in cases like this, it's definitely cool and a must that you have another way to unlock it, which is secure, because these apps are tied into your VIN number, your registration, your details. Another cool thing which we realized the other day, when we left the car unlocked in our apartment complex and walked up, our phone actually gave us a little ping saying, hey, you've left your car unlocked.
Right. Yeah, that's, I think, a very important thing, because I remember with a car that I was recently testing, it has the feature where it auto locks the moment you walk away from the car, but it didn't. And the lights kept running all through the night, and next morning when I came down, the battery was down. So I think this little feature again really helps. That's what I feel. But there's also a flip side to it. That same app was constantly giving me messages all through the night saying the engine is running, the vehicle's unlocked, and that was it. Sony Bayer, I mean, it was constantly just telling me your engine's running at 2 o'clock in the night. And
I had the same issue, and this was with the Mercedes app. And you would think that, okay, with the time that's gone into making these apps, that they would be a little more polished. Now, I still like the fact that you have like a double fail-safe when it comes to connected tech, plus stuff that the car is supposed to do already, like not lock itself, or with the keys inside, or lock itself once you've been away from the car for more than 10, 15, 20 seconds. Sometimes it just so happens that you leave the lights on, you don't hear the buzzer warning you to put the lights off before you leave the car. In that case, that's where connected tech should really come in, and just think of how convenient it would be if your app actually did that.
But I think that is something that most of the apps are doing, right? I mean, did you find that not happening on any particular app? Because I was responsible for the Honda City, and it would tell me about everything. If the lights were on, if the AC was on, if the car was unlocked, the engine was running, all of that, it would keep on giving me those notifications. It also told me that, Simran, you kept breaking speed limits every now and then when you were driving the car back, because it just kept telling me the car just exceeded the 40 kilometer per hour zone. It just exceeded the speed limit for the 60 kilometer per hour zone. So yeah, so those features also are definitely handy. Talking about the comfort and the convenience of it, the one feature that I really liked about the Honda City, and you know, in our conditions and for hairy people like me, it is a big deal. Pre-cooling of the cabin.
No, I think cool certainly for anybody in India, most of us have to deal with hot and humid conditions, or at least hot conditions. So pre-cooling is definitely, I don't see a downside with this. But if you have to go into the app and wonder how to press that button, do I press this button? Does it turn red when it's on? Does it turn red when it's off? You know, these are things that you shouldn't have to think about with an app.
I agree. But again, the second way to look at it is, you know, the Honda Accord. That had the pre-cooling function or functionality on the remote itself, one press of a button. But again, I had to be in line of sight with the car to be able to do that. Now I can literally do it while I'm getting ready to leave for work. And it tells me on the app if it's actually, you know, the AC has started working, for how long has it been running, what is the temperature, because all that I couldn't get with that little key. But the other flip side to that, the BMW key, right? I mean, it's not an app. The key itself is like a phone, and it gives you all the data that's right there. So you are still, in terms of the user experience, or you know, in terms of the UI, it's all tied into what you expect out of a BMW. It's the same kind of layouts that you would get on the infotainment. So it's just easy. The learning curve is not as steep as.
I think the functionality is right there. It's within reach. It's just up to manufacturers to do it. Like BMW has made your smartphone the key now.
Right.
And it's not come to our country as yet, but we can expect it soon. And so we know that it's possible. Tata with the Nexon has been able to give you a pre-cooling function that'll even crack open the windows just an inch or two.
Which I think is very important for us.
Which is super. I mean, if they can do it, then why can't everybody else?
BMW has done that with the key. We are still waiting for that key to arrive. And then you have Apple recently announcing that now your phone can be the key, which almost was the case right now when Tuhin helped unlock the car, right? It was the phone that acted like the key. And essentially we are doing away with the physical key altogether, because all those functions are essentially going to come. The locking and unlocking of the doors using the phone, or even rolling down the windows. What do you guys feel about this?
Like I said, when it comes to pre-cooling the cabin, I think it's important to just crack the windows a little bit to let out some of that hot air. It's not a foolproof system like we've seen. So the Mercedes, for example, has rain sensors for its windows and its sunroof. But when we brought the windows down in the rain, it didn't really recognize it. So I think there's still that polish to be had everywhere through the system.
But in terms of the comfort and convenience, do you want to use the voice assistant feature or categorize it under this same thing?
No. So the reason why I didn't bring it up is because it's been anything but convenient to use. And I think we're all on the same page. It doesn't matter where the system slots in, whether it's in a 5 lakh rupee car or a 1.5 crore rupee car. The system's just so frustrating to use. Hello MG.
I'm listening.
Navigate to Todi Mills.
I found more than 140 minutes. Which one would you like to pick?
The voice assistant systems just do not work, especially we've got used to Apple and Android phones being smart over the years. Hey Siri, where's the nearest petrol pump?
The closest one I found is Indian Oil petrol pump on NH48.
We've seen the progress that those guys have made over the last 3, 4, 5 years, and they've got to a point where it's natural, it feels fluid to talk to your phone, get information from it, and get it to do the stuff that you want it to do. I wanted to call you, it navigated me to Tamil Nadu. I don't know why. Call Rohit Paratkar.
I found more than one Karnataka. Which one would you like to pick?
Probably for the biryani. I love the biryani there. Probably that's the common thread there.
Tushar said it really well when he said that when you talk to it, if it's giving you an audio and a visual cue that it's understood what you're saying, maybe word by word if it's able to pass it,
right,
was the fancy tech word that he used. But it makes perfect sense with something like the Creta, which shows you the words as you speak it. You know that it's understood what you're saying, so
right,
you're never really at ends with the car, where you say something and then the voice assistant shuts off and it's like, wait, are you done talking? Am I done talking? I don't know. I haven't got what I wanted out of it.
So out of these, like I said, I don't want to really get into comparisons of which was the better one or which did it better. But the voice assistant is one where I think it's better that we compare. So what do you think? Which car did it better? Or which system did it better for you?
I think in our testing with my accent, the Hyundai Creta system just seemed a cut above the rest in the fact that it showed me the words as I spoke them. So I knew that it was trying to understand what I was saying.
Right.
And the gap to it actually figuring out the navigation instructions that I had given it, or calling the person that I had asked it to call, or even setting the climate control,
right,
was very low. So it felt natural. It felt like I was asking maybe a friend to do it because I was too occupied at the wheel.
Right.
So it felt natural. Whereas in some cars where you give it a command and it takes a good 5 seconds for it to tell you whether it's understood you or not.
Right.
So you're stuck in that space between thinking, do I have to repeat the command or do I have to wait for it to register?
Hi, how can I help?
What's the cricket score?
Pardon?
What is the cricket score?
Sorry, but I still didn't get that. Please try again.
But I think once you understand in your particular car, with you know how you need to talk to the digital assistant and how to make it do the things that you expect out of it in terms of the functionality, I think as a convenience feature, it's very good. Because say for that one command of I'm feeling too warm or I'm feeling too cold, and getting it to adjust the air conditioning, I think the other functionality that it brings along, like maybe changing the music track or the navigation functionality of it, or maybe even changing the ambient lighting on cars like the GLE that we did, it's a nice thing because you don't have to go through multiple layers of menus and functions to be able to get to the function that you want. You can just simply ask the car to do it. Now we're talking about cool features here. One feature that I really like with this connected tech is the ability to use the app and open or close the sunroof, or just flash the lights, blink the turn blinkers, or the horn, all of that. I know you can do all of that with the key as well, but there's some sadistic pleasure I get out of this. Like for example, when I have a car parked right out there and I have some guy just leaning on the car and speaking on the phone, I would like to scare that guy with, you know, the car flashing the lights. Do you have any cool features that you like about?
The Hector has this, of course, the party piece is this huge screen that, you know, looks like it came out of a Tesla or something. It's a vertical form factor which you don't normally see in cars. What I did notice is that it has the Gaana app actually installed. So there is a full screen Gaana app on which you can play and stream music, which I thought was very cool. And if you can at least potentially improve that in the future with additional apps, maybe you can put in a Spotify or whatever. I think that's a really good thing to have in a car. What I didn't like, of course, is, and here's where I come back to that whole expectation of having polished apps. You're used to polished apps on your smartphones. Why can't you have them in your car? Why does your car have to be a second class citizen in terms of this? The Gaana app on the MG Hector is really not very nice to look at. It looks very colorful, but in reality, when you use it, it's just okay.
I can never tell what the song is that's actually playing because the text is so little.
Exactly.
Tiny.
The font is really small. You have to take your eyes off the road if you really want to see what's happening on that screen. So I think you're right. So the cool bit of this is the ability to install apps, maybe certain apps. But then again, my phone is letting me do that by just simply mirroring what's happening on the phone. So all my apps, or some of them at least, because of the unique way in which Apple works, whatever is restricted and is available on CarPlay, you at least get that.
Yeah.
Any cool feature for you, Simran? Something that you really like?
So there is a really cool feature that the GLE does, where if you remark that you're feeling bored, she'll try playing a quiz with you. So it's a little bit of a nerdy, geeky feature, but you've got state capitals, and we tried it out in the car the other day, and I think I got 1 right and Tushar got like 4 right before we gave up. So it's worth it for maybe a couple of laughs, or if you've got kids in the car, to keep them entertained for like 5 minutes, 10 minutes.
Right.
But the interesting thing is that we know that it's possible. Now you
Right.
could do this with your phone in any case. You could ask it to give you the general knowledge. Having it in the car, especially maybe on a long distance drive, and you've
I
got
think that
kids
is
in
where
the
it
car.
makes a lot of sense, right, on these roads.
So what's interesting is, even with the apps that Tushar likes and the stuff that you like, all of it can be added to the system at a later date. They all support over-the-air updates.
Right.
So I see it as just being a matter of time before the system just becomes more robust and more where we want it to be.
What I really want to discuss with you guys is what is that ideal route? What is that ideal path that connected tech should take now, going forward? Because in terms of its novelty, it's really nice. Now, where I'm coming from is maybe if we were to go back, say, 10, 15 years, where we started hearing about satellite navigation on cars that were sold in the developed markets, and we started hoping that it would someday happen in India. It finally did. Almost every car today has satellite navigation, but how many of us use the satellite navigation provided by the manufacturer? Maybe not all of us. Most of us are still using, say, Google Maps or Apple Maps or our favorite whatever mapping software is off the phone, and then mirroring it onto the infotainment system. Though it is actually, in a way, technically superior because it's not probably dependent on the SIM card or the network. Somewhere I want the car, if we are calling it a gadget now, if we are saying that cars are becoming hardware and software and a gadget, going away from what we traditionally know of a vehicle, I want that gadget to fit into a certain ecosystem. What are your thoughts on this?
I absolutely agree with you. And frankly, right now, as far as I'm concerned, tech in cars is not good. Tech in cars is basically, I have money, I know how to run a business, I'm going to do this better than you. No, you're not. Bye. That time has passed.
True.
Your Apple and Google have spent the last 25, 30 years
Perfecting what they are
refining
doing.
and perfecting ecosystems and app and human interface to technology. They've got it right. You guys don't. They're willing to work with you, at least I think they are, and they are to some degree. I know that you're an Apple user and you use Apple CarPlay as much as possible. So do I. I have an Android phone as well. I use Android Auto as much as possible. And they're limited in their interactions, in the sense that they're basically just mirroring what you've got on your phone on that screen. But even with that limited level of integration, they're so much better than what's there in the car. They're not doing much, but they're doing everything better than the car. For me, the dream is to have a system that really is independent in the car, independent in the phone, but they integrate in a way that is not possible right now. For example, you were talking about walking away from the car and having it lock. You know your phone can do that with your MacBook. Literally,
True.
if your
Yes.
Apple phone walks away from your MacBook will lock, and when you come back it unlocks because it knows this is your phone.
Correct.
Right? That's integration. It's simple. Why can't we have this in cars?
I would love to see the day, hopefully soon, where the car app and say Google Maps are integrated so they know when you're going to step out of the house,
Right.
and you get notifications about the state of fuel in your car, how much more distance you have left to drive, or maybe even gives you a little heads up before you head
That
out.
heads
so
up
you
would
can
be
fuel
important.
up.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I think that is what we're discussing. That if you're in a timetable and you know that you're going to leave at a certain time every day, and if your fuel status is low, that is essentially where having that fuel status on my phone really helps. Otherwise, why would I want to pull out the phone, go into the app and see what the fuel status is? Unless it's going to work the other way around, where the app gives me a notification and a heads up that today you might have to leave a little early because your office commute is so and so kilometers and you don't have that much fuel in the car. So that is the level of integration that I'm looking at.
I think the perfect example would be maybe a movie like I, Robot, where there's just so much integration happening in the car that the car is asking you questions even before you get to your destination. So the car says, Rohit, you're reaching home. Do you want to put the water heater on? Do you want to put the coffee maker on?
That's exactly the level of integration that I'm talking about. I mean, I like what Honda's done with the Honda City, where there is that Alexa remote capability at least, where I can ask Alexa what the fuel status in my car is. I don't have to pull out an app or find out where my car is. But I wanted to work the other way around as well. I want Alexa to know that I'm arriving home. I wanted to start the coffee maker. I wanted to start the pre-cooling for my house as well, not just for the car. It has to be a two-way thing. So these would be the ideal case scenarios for me.
So bottom line is that you've got these cool, fun, interesting features in silos. They don't come together to give you that holistic experience.
Right. So what is in it for our users then? How do we conclude this? I think how I would look at it is just the way we started talking about the OBD device, where there was a certain bit of functionality and you got better integration now. I think there is that other step, the next step essentially, where all these things that we are saying that we like in silos are hopefully going to be more better integrated, better connected, and maybe a part of an ecosystem that we are already used to.
So for me, I don't think connected technology really plays a large part in my decision-making process. I mean, that's not really a feature that I'm really strongly looking at on the spec sheet. At the bare minimum, I want to have Apple CarPlay and Android Auto support because I know it works with my ecosystem, and that's about all I need from it.
I'm going to try being an optimist over here. OTA updates, I pray that they get better and that they add more functionality over time. So it's sort of like buying a 5G ready phone today or buying a phone with 6 GB RAM. You don't need 6 GB RAM. But you know that there will be a point 1 year down the line or 2 years down the line where it's going to start needing that, because there are apps that will come that will be way more resource intensive. So in that sense, I think connected tech is a nice add-on to have to your car. When more becomes available, your car's got it, and thus it's available to you. But right now, I think it adds very little. Like Tushar said, if you've got Apple or Android connectivity, that's all you really need. You navigate on the go without having to punch in directions. You can call people, you can respond to text messages.
You have the best possible voice assistant.
Exactly.
Right. Well, so the bottom line is connected tech is a very nice feature to have in your car, but not something that you should base your car buying decision on. It is a piece of technology that opens up a lot of doors, but there's still a long way to go. Now, I hope that this discussion has answered everything that you wanted to know about connected tech. But if there's something else that you want to know about it, do write into us and we'll answer that as soon as possible. Thank you so much for watching.